It's come to that time of year where all the brands are starting to release their new products for next season. First up, welcome to Titleist TSR. We're going to talk about all the drivers today. I have been fitted for one, but I'm going to talk about every single model that has been released. So TSR2, 3, and 4. I was lucky enough to go down to the Titleist Performance Centre at Woburn Golf Club and be fitted by one of the professional fitters there at Woburn. It was an amazing experience. I'm going to talk about how I got on with it and also the one that I got fitted for. The main thing we always ask with a new release is what's new? And as you can see by the name, TSR, it is a continuation of the Titleist Speed project. It's not anything massive and brand new like, let's say, a TaylorMade Stealth when they're introducing something revolutionary. And that's why the R, it kind of stands for refined. You can say it stands for some other stuff, but this model is refined of the previous models of TS and TSi. First up, TSR2. This was the first driver that I tried at Woburn. Compared to the TSi2, we've got some really big improvements with the aerodynamics. This driver is going to be a lot more streamlined just by some subtle differences in the design. Although the TSR2 is a high MOI distance driver for on and off center hits, it still has that player type profile that all of Team Titleist members do really enjoy. It is still a forgiving model though, and you can see that with this new face design as well. They've got a multi-plateau VFT face design, which basically means across the entire club face, you're still gonna get some really positive ball speed consistency. What I did notice with the ball speed consistency is that I was hitting it straight, even when I was hitting out of the toe and out of the heel. It was almost like when I put one hand off the club with a TSR2, it was still going straight in about 300 yards for me. It did launch a little bit too high, which is why I wasn't personally fit for it. But I do think for amateur golfers, the TSR2 will be extremely popular across the board. The TSR3, I do find the most interesting out of all these three models. The TSi3 was one of the most popular drivers on the PGA Tour for the last few years. It was so popular that when it came to the R&D department at Titleist trying to change it, they had PGA Tour players saying, we don't want you to change it. It is more or less the perfect driver. But they still wanted to make refinements and improvements. And that's what they did. Similar to the TSR2, they have improved those aerodynamics, but slightly different. With the adjustability that the TSi3 does have on the back of the club, what I'd notice is it could be made a little bit more streamlined to improve that aerodynamic. So they have adjusted that, first of all, to make it easier for you guys to hit the desired shots, but to also improve that aerodynamics. This TSR3 is for the better player. It is a compact model, but it's not an intimidating driver down at address. The big difference between the TSR3 and the TSR2, apart from slightly different MOI, they've actually got a different type of face. As I said, the TSR2, they've got the multi-plateau VFT design. The TSR3 has the speed ring design. This is slightly different because they wanted to max out the relationship between the CT and the COR. So really just get the highest ball speed possible. A little change again. With those refinements though, you will notice a bit of a difference. I personally didn't see that much of a difference between the TSR3 and the TSi3 when testing them out, but I wasn't really expecting it, judging by what they were saying. It's just a little bit of a refinement to make it just a little bit better than the TSi3. Is it enough to upgrade? Probably not, as it is the upper price bracket, but I'll leave that down to you guys. Then TSR4, a driver that's not usually released with these drivers, but there's a reason why it has been. This is the low spinning bomber, the one that people use if they spin it a little bit too much. And this was the one I was actually fitted into. Interestingly enough, this driver has the multi-plateau VFT face design, like the TSR2 and not the 3. So a bit more ball speed consistency across the face for this one, which leads to maybe a little bit more forgiveness comparing to the TSR3. As well as that, you've got two adjustable weights, which I find really interesting because at the normal setting, it's for that lowest spin possible. But if you move it around, it changes it a little bit and makes it more of like a TSR 3.5. I fell in love with this driver instantly. I found that the forgiveness with the ball speed consistency across the entire face, I could hit it anywhere and it was still going very straight. So 3 drivers tested and some pretty good vibes so far. But is it worth it for you guys? One thing with Titleist is they really want to sell you the product that works for you best. And that's why they push custom fitting in every regard. They don't want you to get anything off the rack because that may not work for you and then you'll end up blaming the brand rather than the actual product not being right for you because you haven't been custom fitted. By going through these models, I was able to find a driver that I was hitting consistent ball speeds of 180 mile an hour. Beforehand, with my previous model, I was still getting about 177 mile an hour. I think it's been 174 and 177 because my off-center strikes were going towards that low 170s, which again, isn't a problem. But what I found is by being able to actually have a fitting for this, and with the ball speed consistency, I did genuinely notice a slight increase in my ball speed. And that's what I think with Titleist is they're never gonna try and sell you a lie. What they tell you about the product is true and will work. So 122 mile an hour club head speed there with 176 mile an hour ball speed. And that I really do think will be the lowest that I actually hit it. That wasn't the best strike in the world. But what the drivers have done is they've been able to increase my range of ball speed by a few miles an hour, by maybe 1 or 2 miles an hour. That doesn't sound like a lot, but for a refinement, I do think it is pretty impressive. Now the questions that could be asked is this true to the driver or is it the custom fitting process? And it is definitely a bit of both. We're gonna leave that one in because that was a really bad strike. So I wanna show you guys that ball speed that I'm gonna be getting with that one, despite really not being anywhere near close to the middle of the club face. That was extremely high on the face, right about, I don't know, like there, nearly skied it. But we're still getting 174 mile an hour ball speed. The difference in that is it's just that ball speed consistency that I've noticed in comparison to other drivers is just a little bit better. Now, is this revolutionary across the board for the entire TSR range when we're comparing it to the TSi, Stealth, things like that? No, but it's that slight improvement that is what stands out. Slightly lower angle of attack on that one, but you can see what I'm getting with that just entire consistency. They're all gonna have found the fairway, and we're getting up now to 180 mile an hour ball speed pretty easily. Do I think I caught that very well? Not really. I think again, it was slightly out of the toe, but at 1.48 smash, that's what you're noticing. That's the best one I think of today there, so we'll leave it at that. That's some just easy swings. I don't feel like I'm going all out at it for these shots here. I've calmed down my swing a little bit in terms of the ferocity of it, but I'm still getting some really nice easy numbers. A fairway finder, that's literally exactly the same as the previous one before, 121 mile an hour, 179 mile an hour. Good numbers. And the most important thing is they're straight. I'm sure a lot of people who are looking at this release are wondering if they should upgrade from their original TSi, whether it be 1, 2, 3, or 4. And that's a really good question because when it is a product that is a refinement, you've got to think, is it worth it? With an RRP of £529, very expensive. Titleist have always been at that upper price bracket. I will never tell anyone to spend £529 on a driver. It's very expensive in today's market. All golf clubs are now. But if we look from model to model, I think you can see a really big improvement with the TSR2 and the TSR4. The TSR3, not that much. You won't notice anything that crazy, but from a kind of best drivers point of view, the 3 will definitely be one of the best drivers this year and next year and the year going on after that. If you are thinking of getting any of the Titleist metalwoods, please make sure you get fitted for it and find the perfect one for your game, because then you won't be disappointed. Guys, let me know what you think of this video today, just really going in depth on all the models. As always, if you have any questions about this video, about the Titleist TSR metalwoods, smash a comment down below. And if you are new to GolfMagic, guys, hit that subscribe button as well. Got a lot of videos coming with Titleist and many other brands. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with us. Till the next video, guys, I'll see you later.